Good morning, everybody. I am JJW, and this is rumble.com/JJW. And every morning we meet and we read the news and we learn more about our world while we drink coffee. Good morning, everybody. I have no idea where Deacon is. I hope he's well. Maybe he's doing radio stuff. He'll probably pop in here in just a moment. Meanwhile, there's interesting news afoot. We got what do we got on the schedule today? We're going to talk a little bit about Amazon. We're going to talk a little bit about our economy. We're going to talk a little bit about I don't know, influence and things that maybe had an effect on the election. I don't know. We're not really going to talk politics too much today, other than to say Katie Hobbs lost the governor's race. Democrats have won the Senate seat for the House and the Senate. So the outstanding House seats remain to be counted. Apparently, I did tweet a joke out yesterday. I tweeted a joke out on Twitter. I said, how many Arizona election officials does it take to change a light bulb? And then that was followed up by, how many election officials does it take to count the light bulbs that you have to change? And then, how many election officials do you have to count the election officials that you have to change a light bulb? It's not a very good joke, but I did make it up. Looks like Deacon's wandering around through the lobby. He's got his, I don't know. He looks a little dazed and confused. I don't know. I can see him down there. I think he'll get here in a minute. Okay. First of all, some grim news. Oh, there he is. Good morning. He found his way into the Good morning, Deacon. That's not the grim news. I didn't do that. Why am I freezing? Did you type that?
You didn't change that yesterday.
Oh, okay. Today. How you doing? Are you okay? You sounding rough.
It's been a rough morning. It's been a rough night and a rough morning. I'm about 10 minutes. Let's see. I'm about 5 minutes behind this morning. I've made up a little time. I was 10 minutes behind when I came in, so I've made up a little time since I got here.
Oh, good.
But yeah, it's been rough. I had a rough morning.
You know, I thought that I had the name of the show yesterday, and then I wake up this morning and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm ready to talk about this big old topic because I don't feel well enough informed about it. Yeah. Not that that's ever stopped me before, but then I wake up and I'm like, you know what? This other kind of theme of the show is kind of more important to me. So I thought I would name today's show after our Amazon stories.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wait. So do you know what the steps are to get this show going? First of all, I have to make some sort of a thumbnail. Which that means you got to decide what you're going to have and then the title so that it's not nonsense. And then I have to draw it up. And then I have to go to Rumble to make a show. And then I have to go to Restream to make a show. And then I have to go and back and forth. And it takes me 10 or 15 minutes to get it all sorted out. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just saying we could all probably benefit from me deciding what we're going to do earlier than 20 minutes before the show.
Oh, that's all right. You're good. I'm not complaining one bit because I don't have to do it.
Yeah, right. I do appreciate when you drop stories in the news feed because that gives me there's some stuff we can talk about.
Yeah,
especially if it's something you care about.
Yeah, there's plenty of times when I go to copy the link to the story and I decide to not put it in the news because I'm like, oh, this will piss me off. I was already pissed off this morning on the way in, so I was like, oh, great. I'm going to be in a wonderful mood for the show this morning because I'm already.
Oh, no.
But no, yeah. I find stuff sometimes that I'm like, oh, we need to talk about this, or oh, this needs to be at least pointed out. Like the story, you walked away from the story yesterday, but it was like the poster child for the South American vaccine. I mean,
yeah,
stuff like that needs to be pointed out. I'm sorry that it's a terrible story, but stuff like that needs to be pointed out.
It seems like the winds are shifting on that particular topic a little bit. We might talk about that.
Well, we probably don't need to talk about that right now. We could probably talk about it in 6 months and not get
Yeah,
taking on from
the problem
fucking
there
YouTube and
is that YouTube is
a
crushing.
Nazi regime.
Can't talk about like I'm not saying I know what the facts are. I'm saying like there's a lot of like a lot of questions people have, and if you just like put people in the gulag as soon as they start asking questions,
Well,
it's
that's
not good.
that's what happened to me and all my people. I mean, we started asking questions right off the bat. That's my nature of my whole
Yeah,
being is a person that asks questions. And I started asking questions about this vaccine straight off the bat, and I was ostracized, man.
right,
I was
right.
ostracized
Oh my gosh.
because
All
because I
right.
have a question.
So I do have one of those kind of in the docket.
Okay.
But the first thing I want to do is I want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge Jay Leno. Did you know? I'm sure you did, but there's some people out there may not know. Jay Leno, former Tonight Show
Oh yeah.
star, was in his garage yesterday, and one of his cars exploded or caught fire or something. And Jay Leno was taken to the hospital with like serious burns, burns to his face, and he canceled appearances shortly thereafter. Jay Leno, obviously, he took over from Johnny Johnny Carson in the 1990s. This was a whole thing kind of way back in the 90s because it really seemed like David Letterman was the ascending replacement for Johnny Carson, but Jay Leno would
Oh, do
come
you
in under the
remember all
Johnny.
that
Oh
mess
yeah, I
that
do.
happened? Yeah, that was a crazy time.
That if anything I've ever said is like, oh, he's old. Yeah, I used to watch Johnny Carson on TV,
Oh,
and
man, I
Jay
can
Leno.
remember sneaking into, mom and dad's bedroom at night as a kid to watch Johnny Carson because they were
Yeah,
watching it in the bedroom, and I would sneak in, I would crawl in because I thought I wasn't allowed to watch Johnny Carson, you know?
right,
So that was a big deal to be able to sit and sneak and watch Johnny Carson. And I didn't get any of the damn jokes, but
right.
they've got a
But you
Johnny
were.
Carson channel on, like, the Roku or one of those channels now that I'll flip
Oh,
it over
really?
and leave it on there every once in a while. It's kinda funny. The man is the Johnny Carson, to watch him now as an adult and watch how quick and smart and fast he was and intelligent. Wow, man, he was
I
a
mean, you
unbelievable
had to
comedian.
be sharp to be
Yeah,
live TV. I mean, we're talking broadcast cameras and the ability to edit was like on the
yeah,
fly. It was
yeah,
it
on the
was
fly.
way
Yeah,
slower.
yeah.
So to I mean, anyway.
I was never a big Jay Leno fan. I didn't like Jay. I didn't like him. You know, I just didn't like his voice. I didn't like his, when he
Yeah,
first came out,
he had a
that
nasally kind of
nasally, yeah. And I just didn't like Jay. I didn't like his writers. I didn't like his jokes. His jokes were ho hum. I could see him coming a mile away. I just did not like his style of humor.
right.
I preferred David Letterman because David was sharp, he was quick, he was fast, and he was dry. And I love dry humor. And Dave has a lot of dry humor, and I
Yeah,
loved him. I loved
you
David.
know,
He was a
David
great
Letterman.
David was a good interviewer. He listened. David listened, and if David had 5 or 6 questions that he was supposed to ask, he would get to them, but a good interviewer won't just go to they will listen and respond to what you're
Yeah,
talking about
there's
and
a
have a
back and
conversation.
forth to the
Yeah.
dialogue. It's not
Mhm.
just like
Not just
question,
question,
answer. It's
answer,
like
question,
what
answer.
is going on there,
Yeah.
and you can like navigate what they're saying to you and touch back to the like milestone questions that you have,
Mhm.
but to
Mhm.
allow the story to be natural and breathing. That's a skill. I agree with you. I think David Letterman was the more funny, and David Letterman had a more dangerous presence on screen. Like he would be making jokes, but sometimes you were the joke.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you're safe and like, oh, we're just gonna ha ha together and like we'll laugh together. Sometimes it would be like, you know, David Letterman
You're
might
the
be making
bad.
fun of you.
Yeah.
Jeremy corrected me. I mean, I right out the gate. It's 6 in the morning. I right out the gate. I misspoke. I said Katie Hobbs lost. Carrie Lake lost the governor's Arizona's race. Katie Hobbs has been the declared winner. So Arizona, but the Democrats are picking up the states.
Who the fuck can count in Arizona anyway? Them sons of bitches.
It's ridiculous.
It's goddamn November the fucking 15th. You dumbasses.
Whatever.
Jesus Christ. And Ashley's from Arizona. She's born and raised in Arizona. What the fuck, Arizona?
Yeah. They're like, they just can't count. You know what the problem? So the lesson that lessons that Florida learned in 2000, Arizona hasn't caught up to yet. One of which is they're moving, maybe they're moving all the ballots into one place to count them. Arizona, wherever they're at, that's where they're getting counted and signed off, and they get the results in. And that's probably like happening in a lot of other states too. And every state's different. Every state gets to decide its own rules. That's why it's so important that you elect your representatives. That's the problem, man.
Every state gets to decide its own rules, and that's the damn problem, because it seems like 47 fucking states can do it fine, and we always have 3 sons of bitches. It's always the same 3 sons of bitches that we always have a problem from.
Well,
and it's always one side that has the problem. The other side never has a problem with them. So it kind of looks like it's skewed. But then again, if you use your brain, maybe it's not so skewed. You know?
We'll have to, what? You know what you got to worry about? Kentucky. You know what I'm going to worry about? Texas. And there's just not shit we can do about the rest of it, other than,
But I do need to worry about these other dumbasses.
I mean, yeah, but
because they're going to fuck up everything. These dumbasses in Pennsylvania. Let's elect a fucking brain dead stroke patient. Okay, thank you for screwing up the rest of the fucking country, Pennsylvanians. You dumbasses.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why I say the voting doesn't matter, because my vote doesn't matter when I have a bunch of dumbasses electing a goddamn stroke victim.
Well, your vote doesn't matter when election laws let people who shouldn't be voting vote. And by that I mean there's a lot of states that have like non-citizen voting measures. Like
that's the whole point of the Democratic 3 years before the election, isn't it?
Or
to get illegals over here to vote and give them IDs and give all these people shit. Hadn't we been talking about this for a month?
Yeah, right. So Democrats want poorly informed people to vote. They want young people to vote. They want people that are not informed at all about the issues to vote, and they just want them to vote Democrat all the way down the ballot. That's what they want.
Yes.
So if that's what they want, that's what they vote for. That's what they want. That's what they get. So the only thing we can do is just try to teach people in our own lives, or can tell people in our own lives, can you maybe don't vote Democrat, because they obviously want the youngest and the least informed people making all the decisions in the country.
That's why they target the young people. We were young. We were targeted. I was specifically targeted. I remember being a dumb young voter thinking that they were right. And I remember that. You're muted.
We're meandering a little bit. Okay, so anyway, Jay Leno. Jay Leno's car caught fire. Jay Leno's burned. 72-year-old. But we were talking about late night talk shows back in the day.
How did we get onto politics?
I have no idea. I don't know what happened. It just slid over there.
I'm sorry.
So I apologize for being incorrect, factually incorrect. If you guys pray for people, pray for Jay Leno, and I hope he recovers quickly. Even though he wasn't my favorite late night show host, I don't want anybody to be hurt and injured and anything like that. And I hope he makes a recovery soon. He has this like YouTube show or something like that where he was like driving people around in cars too. I think it was on YouTube. I don't know. I've seen Jay Leno once. I saw him in an arena once for a big old business meeting way back in the early 2000s. And Jay Leno came on stage and he was telling jokes, and me and my friends were like, "Oh, it's Jay Leno. Let's leave." Actually, I think it was in Vegas. I'm pretty sure it was in Vegas. Anyway, I've seen him once, and then I left. I walked out. All right. So let's go with this, because I think this stuff is great. And I got I got at least 4 lined up that are kind of on this topic. Deacon, I'm sure you have Amazon or have used Amazon, right? Amazon. So you are aware that Amazon's boss is Jeff Bezos, like the second richest man in the world. And Amazon founder Jeff Bezos warns a recession is looming and Americans should prepare for the worst.
Really, Jeffy? Thank you, Jeffy, for pointing out the fucking blatantly obvious, you bald-headed jackass.
Okay.
Take a fucking, oh my God, you moron. I swear,
look,
this guy used to be like us. You know, he used to be a normal fucking Joe. And you see what money does to your brain cells, people? Jesus Christ. We have been suffering and preparing for the worst in a recession for about 3 years now. So, but thanks, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Well, we've
Thanks
been
for
at least
telling
in a
us.
recession since July, except they, the White House changed their definition of recession.
Jeffy, are you going to suffer in your recession? Are you going to be able to pay your electricity bills and feed your family and make sure that your car is working so that you can go to work and back from work in order to feed your family, Jeff? Because some people, me, and one of them, are having problems doing that shit right now. Okay. But Jeff, you don't have to worry about buying a new engine for your wife's car because it blew up, do you? You don't have to do that because I sure as shit can't go to a used car lot and pay $25,000 for a used fucking car. I've got to fix this engine that's in my wife's car, but I can't right now because I don't have the money to do it, Jeffy. But thank you for letting me know that the worst is still yet on the horizon. You bald-headed, stupid fuck. Thank you. I'm done.
All right. So I should have asked about your. Oh wow, he's angry. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let him cool off there. So Jeff Bezos warned that the U.S. economy is in a slump and in a painful recession. The billionaire advised consumers and businesses to delay purchases and stockpile cash. And later that day, later yesterday, Amazon cut 10,000 jobs ahead of Christmas. So the economy is in a slump. It's been in a recession since I think second quarter turned up, and the traditional figures for the traditional definition of a recession is two quarters in decline, a quarter and down, and then followed by another quarter down. Well, the White House didn't want to acknowledge that they were in a session running into an election, so they changed their definition of a recession. But the one that everybody has used for decades has been 2 quarters in decline. And we had 2 quarters in decline, but the White House gave their but excuses, pandemic, existential circumstances, or whatever. Well, now Amazon, after warning businesses to stockpile cash, Amazon cuts 10,000 jobs ahead of Christmas. So some people are not going to be stockpiling cash. Amazon made so much money during the pandemic. Let me just point this out, by the way. Let me just say this. While the rest of you were, told to put on masks and stay in your house and don't go to work and don't go anywhere, Amazon sold all the stuff to you. Amazon big bucks went up. There, he's back. Amazon profits were record profits through the pandemic. Amazon, there was a huge shift. I mean, small businesses closed, couldn't stay open anymore. Brick and mortar closed, and there was a massive wealth transfer and a business transfer because while people couldn't go to the store anymore, they could go to Amazon and get their toilet paper delivered. So Amazon made so much money. I mean, record money during the pandemic. And here we are, the consequence of the policies invoked by our political leaders: don't go to work, crushing small business, basically stomping small business into oblivion. passing this Inflation Reduction Act and the printing money and sending it to people, and devaluing currency, further squashing the ability of businesses to thrive in this market. And now at the tail end of it, when maybe you can struggle back, Amazon says, oh, we're just going to cut a bunch of jobs. We're going to cut our expenses. We made our money. And now we're about to go into a real recession, and you're fired. You're out of here. So they moved, and they're not the only ones. I think Facebook has reduced something like 11,000. We saw Tesla not Tesla, but we saw Twitter do that, but that was for different reasons, have big layoffs. So I think Facebook cut like 11,000 jobs or something like that. Amazon now cutting 3% of their workforce, about 10,000 employees. And that was in August that they did the massive layoff. So I'm sure it doesn't go any farther than that, right? Oh, Disney CEO Bob Chapek confirms company undertaking massive cost-cutting measures in the wake of poor Q4 financial reports. So it's not just Amazon, it's not just Facebook. Now it's the House of Mouse, and I'm sure others that they're bleeding money on Disney Plus, trying to keep viewers and subscribers. People are not watching their stupid ass shows. She-Hulk sucks. And Andor may be great, but we've talked about content-wise, it's slow. People are not watching it. I'll tell you that. It didn't make the top 10 cutoff of shows at all. In fact, the poor performance on that particular show is so poor that they want to boost the show up. So Disney Plus took the first 2 episodes of Andor, and they're putting it on Hulu and Freevee and a bunch of other services in order to get people to watch it, and then get people into Disney Plus. So after months of denying the realities of living in the recession, entertainment giant Walt Disney Company is expected to make massive layoffs due to poor financial outlook. A memo sent last Friday and subsequently viewed by Variety, according to that memo, the House of Mouse will begin taking substantial measures to offset Q4 financial losses. Chapek wrote, while certain macroeconomic factors are out of control, meeting these goals requires all of us to continue doing our part to manage the things you can control, most notably our costs. You all will have critical roles to play in this effort as senior leaders. I know you'll get the right thing done. So these companies, they have no problem capitalizing on whatever is going on in our society, the pandemic, and then our political leaders doing all kinds of stuff. No problem capitalizing on that for record profits when the rest of us are locked up. And then when it comes time for these companies to sacrifice some of those profits, to bleed a little before Christmas, no, they're not going to take losses. They're not going to. Some of these people's critical roles in this effort will be to not be employed anymore. I mean, this is exactly anyway. Okay. Probably one of the people that are going to be playing a critical role is Margot Robbie, who says her Pirates of the Caribbean spinoff movie isn't happening. So in the wake of the budget constraints, we're gonna cut projects that are not gonna make us as much money. So Margot Robbie had a Pirates of the Caribbean spinoff movie that was going to be, I think, an all-female cast, and instead it's going to be not made. Robbie said her work had stopped on the planned Pirates film because Disney didn't want to move forward with it. She'd been working with the film writer Christina Hodson, who wrote the script for the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey flick. So this
imagine that, JJ. Imagine society not wanting to watch an all-female fucking pick. Imagine making a TV show and focusing on all women and no one and not making as much money as you were going. Imagine making a comic book all women and not selling as much as you thought. Imagine making movies and all of this shit and trying to please your woke ideology and it not making any money, because that has been reality for about 5 years now. Every single time one of these all women bullshit comes up, it doesn't make any money. And then we ask ourselves, why did it not make any money? It was really good. Amy Schumer was in it, so it should have sold a bunch of money. And then you wonder why the hell it didn't
Well,
make any money. Because
I'm
we
sure
don't
that
want
there.
that bullshit. I don't want an all men bullshit either. I'm sick of that
Right. I just
shit
want. I just
too.
want good. Just want
I
good
just want
stories.
good stories.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just like socialism. Every single time they will be like, "Well, it just hasn't been done right yet. It just hasn't been done right yet. If it was done right, it would work." Except it never does. I mean, Ghostbusters from like 2016,
You
right?
know,
All
that
female
wasn't a
cast.
bad that wasn't a bad story movie. I rewatched that not too long
Uh,
ago and sat there and thought, as a whole, it's not that bad. But looking at it through the lens that everybody wants to look at shit through, yeah, I can see all the woke shit that people are complaining about. The dumb man and Chris Helmsworth and this and
right.
but as a whole, the movie was not bad. You know, they could have had two
Oh,
women, a guy. They could have had three women and a guy, or two guys and two girls for the ghost. But
well, so
I don't like. I'm not having a good day today. This
I'm
is.
sorry,
I,
Pete.
I knew sitting on the couch this morning before I got up, I was like, man, I don't want to be on the show this morning. Today is not a
All right.
day that I need to be on the show because I'm not having a good day.
I'm
This
sorry
is one
about
of those
that.
days that I don't want to be that I don't want the show to go up. You know,
I had to pull yesterday's down because anyway, you won't find yesterday's show up there either. All right. Well, so Amazon warns of recession, fires employees. Disney gonna fire employees. Uh, maybe a Margot Robbie all female pirates movie would have been good. I don't know. I really doubt that it would have been like it does. There's no way to just replace Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow and the Pirates with like some other person in eye mascara and makeup. And if you think like, oh, well, we can't replace Johnny Depp and Captain Jack Sparrow, we're just going to go way the other way. Well, that's probably not going to work as well either. And nothing against Margot Robbie. She's all right, I guess. My wife does not like her, but she's okay. But and I honestly not. I don't feel anything was lost here. Is really lost here. All right. It's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna pivot slightly to this, and this is something that I know that you guys don't necessarily watch all the time. Um, back in it was a couple weeks ago, and then as a consequence, it was in Breitbart like last week. Scott Adams, the writer and owner of Dilbert, who's known for also being a hypnotist and a persuasion expert and a political commentary or whatnot. He mentioned on his show, Scott Adams says that TikTok is digital fentanyl. So TikTok had an unprecedented output on or impact on this election. Not only are like certain voices banned on TikTok, TikTok is owned by a Chinese corporation, and so they are able to front messages or permit messages that are that they agree with, and they constrain messages that they don't agree with. And because TikTok is used so much by young people, and it's in little short little segments, they just keep watching the same messages again and again and again. The effect is that TikTok has a massive impact on the thinking and the attitudes assigned to the young population, because that young demographic is the one that
All
uses
my kids
TikTok.
do is watch TikTok, and then you got these little videos where these two guys are sitting around and going, "Hey man, listen to this. Did you know that so and so did this and blah blah blah? Are you serious? Yeah, back in 1844, blah 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 blah, and this happened. Oh, cool." And then the video goes, and then our children think that whatever was fucking said to them on TikTok is actually history. So they go around and they parrot this shit. It's just like when you would see it on Facebook. They see it, they read it on Facebook, and they go and they parrot it to somebody else, and then they parrot it. And that's the same thing that's happening with TikTok. I see it all the time. My son will be like this, and he'll show me blah 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 blah, and I'll be like, "That's bull crap, dude. That's some bull crap." And then look it up and actually show him that what he saw on TikTok that this dumbass made is not the truth. That's the problem with this today. Is our children are being brainwashed by the village idiots.
Well, not just the village, yes, but that brainwashing is being weaponized by foreign state. So now this was
companies and everybody.
Yeah. So Scott Adams asserted that China-controlled TikTok helped Democrats win on abortion with women. Okay, so young people watch TikTok, women watch TikTok videos a lot. Certain messages get cycled on that platform in heavy rotation, and opposing messages get banned, right? Like if you come out there with abortion is murder, your video is just going to get taken down. So Scott Adams, let's see. He wrote, Adams first noted that while Republicans won among men and also among married women, Democrats won by a huge margin, like 37% among unmarried women. So single young women broke Democrats. And he retweeted this message by Brad Wilcox. Adams added at his own tweet, noting the majority of TikTok users are women and urging Democrats to connect the dots. So here's the dots. China owns and runs TikTok, has certain messages on abortion, and then the midterms broke. Hard Democrat for young women, right? So did China impact our elections with TikTok? Well, somebody else says this. The FCC commissioner, quote, TikTok is China's digital fentanyl. And they show a very different version in China than in the United States. So either the message that Scott's putting out there, which is China is manipulating us with TikTok, that either that message floated up and percolated to the FCC commissioner, or they're both on the same page in terms of the amount of. I mean, China is not just trying to eat our lunch economically. They're trying to destabilize U.S. hegemony around the world, and they're not the only ones. There's the BRICS nations. You have Brazil, Russia. All the BRICS alliance, which are basically attempting to consolidate and displace the petrodollar. And if the petrodollar gets displaced, I mean, didn't Saudi Arabia kind of move in accord with the BRICS alliance? If the petrodollar gets destabilized, your cushy life is over. You will no longer be able to buy cheap goods at Walmart. Everything's going to get more expensive. The U.S. dollar will tank in value. I don't know. So China is moving against us on many different fronts, not just economic, but here by running the company and putting policies in place that filters out certain kinds of political topics. They impacted the election, maybe directly, maybe not exactly directly, but maybe perhaps indirectly. and that influence is substantial. It could have changed. It could have literally changed the results of some of these elections. Definitely in very, very close races. So China, and again, the Chinese people are not our enemy, but the Chinese government is definitely an opponent on the world stage. And there's nothing like this going the other way. The United States does not own anything that has massive influence in China that changes public appeal. If we did, the CCP has it cut scenes from their movies, or they crush it. So it's not like this is a symmetrical battle. This is not symmetrical warfare. This is dangerous. I don't know. Stay off TikTok. Donald Trump talked about banning TikTok back in 2018, but lawmakers didn't do that. I don't know. It seems harmless, but I don't think it is. Any thoughts about that? No. I'm catching up on comments. Brian says I still have my pink sock filter on my mic. Yes,
that's
I do.
Actually the purple one. The pink one looked more like a penis.
Yeah. I was told the other one looked more penile, so
It looked.
And the end of the sock was kind of flopped over on the end. Brian says that
conversation.
It's okay, Deacon.
I'm just not in the mood.
Brian says that all women content makes no money. I think he's talking about when we were talking about Pirates of the Caribbean and Ghostbusters.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. I love women. I love you. I love women. More power to you. You're awesome. But it's just a fact. It doesn't make money. Brian's right. It's not going to.
If the demographic that goes to the movies is men, that's, you'd have to check the numbers, right? If going to the movies is not a entertainment type that women love to do,
like I don't think that women want to see all women shit either. There is probably a small percentage of crazy blue-haired feminists out there that want to watch all female stuff because down with the patriarchy and witches rule or whatever the fuck they're saying these days. But
I have an expert to give us an opinion.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, there's your expert.
Oh, yeah. Deacon and I are talking about all women content. Hey. All women content, like an all women Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or
so. My college algebra class and I talked about this yesterday.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. I'm an expert on nothing.
Yeah, no, you are. So do women want to watch all women shows?
Yeah.
Like Ghostbusters 2016.
I talked about yesterday about. I don't need that.
Okay.
Sorry, Deacon, to hear your response, I guess, but I'm not going to stay long. No, I don't. I did not appreciate the Wonder Woman movie for 17 reasons. Do not even start me, because it took 3 weeks for me to stop talking about everything they broke with my movie, because I have Wonder Woman all over my office. It's a major theme. People know me as a big Wonder Woman fan, and they just destroyed it because it was a woman thing. And honestly, in my opinion, if you want, and maybe this is the type of feminist I am, I don't think of myself as a feminist, is that if you are actual feminist, you don't want to be given, like, make it easier so you can be a woman. Ooh. It's like okay, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow character is so powerful to me because nobody makes a deal about her being a woman. Like, she's the only one who does not have special powers, and yet she is kicking ass right next to all the other Marvel characters. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a thing. She, to me, is the icon, one of the icons of feminism, because she is a woman who's strong and equal, and they're not like, oh, she's got a vagina, we probably should, be careful. They're not tiptoeing around her. They're giving her tasks that are equally weighted to their own. And then the Black Panther movie I loved, that came out right after the Wonder Woman movie. And I loved that because, yes, it was Black Panther, but that was to me an icon of feminism movie because they didn't make a deal about it, but all of the women who protected their king, all of his honor guard or whatever it was called, were women.
Yeah.
And they were strong and they were powerful, and they felt like those women were equipped enough to protect the king. So it wasn't like she was one of 1,000. His whole honor guard was women, and I was like, oh my God, I love this movie.
And they stood on their own without making a message of it, but they stood equal to men. Like like
they didn't have an agenda that was so
Right.
overt that it was taking away from the fact that I don't want you to have an agenda. You don't need to make me special. I am special, and I am here. And I know that they kind of messed it up on the second movie from what I've heard. I haven't watched it, so I can't have an opinion. Did you tell Deacon about the baby cake you're going to make me? Diaper cake you're going to make me?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I know. You're going to do great.
Okay.
You're going to show all your friends.
I'm going to make a diaper cake.
Awesome, dude.
Hey,
she's exactly right. I mean, that's coming from.
I was voluntold.
I mean, she was right.
Yeah. So like, and it's not like if you don't think that content is not good. It's not. That doesn't mean you're a misogynist. It doesn't mean that at all. It means like that's the wrong thing to put. That's the wrong thing to put emphasis on. First, it's good stories. Second, it's a balance between, if you're gonna have like gender stuff be a thing in the movie, I mean, like you have to like acknowledge like human relationships most of the time are men and women in a dynamic opposition that is complementary. That's most of the time. That's when it works. That's when stuff works. But that doesn't really need to be the one-sided thing. Doesn't need to be the focus of movies. And when it is, it's not appealing to the demographic that they think it appeals to. And you can bear that out with like box office returns. So anyway, okay. I think maybe I'm gonna sit on the FTX stuff for a little bit because I need to digest it more. But I will acknowledge the FTX stuff. So, Deacon, are you even remotely aware of the FTX exchange collapse?
No, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So,
okay. So I'm going to sit on this for a little bit, but it appears that, the U.S. government was washing, billions of dollars through a cryptocurrency exchange and funneling that into the Democratic machine to reelect their people. But I'm gonna digest a little bit more of the FTX thing before I come back and talk about it. It's huge, and I don't know, but anything crypto is always to me a little bit like difficult to contemplate. My dog just added an interesting aroma to this room. That is not cool, dude. Okay. I think that's all the topics that I had this morning. I can let you off the hook early. Let's see if the guys in chat are talking. Jeremy is talking to Manuel. Let's see. China owns our politicians. Eric Swalwell, Eric Swalwell was dating a Chinese spy for a hot minute. Manuel says he was thinking the other day, if America gets worse and beyond the point of no return, where would he move? The other countries are going to go the same route as the U.S., and it's getting to the point of adapt or perish. Yeah, but
I will be dead. I'll be dead.
The whole world is going to just go through a serious shock, and a lot of this stuff, is kind of caused by ESG or whatever. And this company FTX that I'm talking about, one of the reasons that it is like a massive Ponzi failure is that was the priority. So the financial shock that the world's about to go through, it's going to shake a lot of the nonsense out of corporate world, which is going to make the foundations of our society ultimately a little bit stronger if we have less of this corruption influencing stuff. So, I mean, things can get better. Don't be black-pilled. All right. I think that's all we're going to talk about this morning. But go read up on the FTX exchange collapse, viewers. Not Deacon. Deacon, you don't have to. Go read up about it and look into this number 2 guy. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. Maybe you guys can inform me a little bit. We'll be collectively more intelligent than just me. Okay, I think that's all. That's all. There's a bunch more news, I'm sure, today, but we'll find out what's going on tomorrow. Bye, everybody.